Hi everybody, welcome back to my channel. I am Serena from Serena Strategy. By now, if you have been watching all my videos, you would have been aware of my story of how I was diagnosed with lupus 5 years ago. And in the last year and a half, I have been doing very well because I came from the traditional medicines and I have been practicing the integrative approach. Last video, I spoke about the different components of the integrative approach, which involves the spiritual aspect, the nutritional aspect, the physical activity aspect, mental and emotional well-being aspect, and of course, having conversations with your doctor. Welcome back to the channel as we speak today about the first component, the spiritual aspect. So, my story is pretty much like a lot of other people, except that when I was diagnosed with lupus 5 years ago, I was living in Jamaica with my family. I went through tremendous stress, went on my traditional medicines, and wasn't doing the best. But as life unfolds and tragedy continued to be a part of our everyday existence, my family experienced great trauma and we left Jamaica, came into the United States, did not have any insurance, was fortunate enough to see a doctor who was able to give me some medicines for 3 months. And after that, I was not able to get any more because I did not have any insurance and I needed to see a rheumatologist, a specialist who look after patients with lupus. I felt tremendous stress at that time because from the tragedy to the experiences of moving to a new country, adapting to the culture, understanding how do we operate here, finding where to live, family members to take care of us, and just mourning the loss of all that we left behind. I left a job, I left my husband, I left my friends, I left my house that I built, I left my car, I left my career, I left my profession, I left everything that I owned behind me. So I was really mourning. I was going through a process of grieving for all the things that I have lost. And let me tell you something. Grief is not because there's someone who died. Grief is when you lose something that is dear to you and it's no longer with you. So I was grieving. There was a loved one who passed, who was murdered in the process of us leaving. And so I was mourning the loss of that loved one. I was mourning the loss of my job, my career, my house, my family unit. I was mourning the loss of my friends, my car that I bought and I really loved. And today I am able to look back on all of these things and think vanity. And all of this backdrop is really just to show how sometimes in this life we find ourselves with so many things. And I don't know how really grateful we are. I don't know if we are a people who practice gratitude enough. But I felt that my life was okay. I felt I had everything. And I remember when a loved one, my grandson's dad, was murdered while we had to leave. I went through really, really hard times where I cursed God. I cursed God, and I remember I started writing and I wrote a chapter of a book where I talk about faith, lost, and found. So I spoke about how God is someone who I looked on for support and guidance. But then At the time when this innocent person was murdered, I asked the question, God, where are you? Where were you when all of this was taking place? Didn't you see that this man has a small child he loves dearly and he wants to take care of? And so I wrote in anger how I felt. And I wanted to know what was this faith. What was this faith that I needed to believe that God will take care of everything? At that time, I could not see anything fruitful coming my direction. And so when I got here to the US, the situation was compounded by where to live, no health insurance, no job, all of those things. And I had to start from the bottom. I hit rock bottom. And that is when God stepped in. And so when my doctor told me, Mrs. Campbell, I am no longer able to prescribe you any more medication unless you go and see the specialist. You need blood tests and you need to know what's going on before you can get another prescription. When I called the doctor, it was $300 for the first visit. I didn't have the money. I was already stressed because I was strapped for cash, strapped for job, strapped for everything that I needed to survive. That's how I felt at the time anyways. And so I got to the point where I only needed to look in one direction. My back was up against the wall and I was facing trials and tribulations, stress on top of stress on top of stress. And so I had to lean up against the wall, pressure on the right, pressure on the left. And I was only able to look up and say, God, I have nothing at this time. I have nothing. I have no money. My family is separated and split and we're all over the place. I have no solid home. I have no job. I have no money. I have nothing. All I am sure I have at this point is lupus. How are you going to help me to deal with this? I said, Lord, I believe in you. And that is when my faith was reassured and reaffirmed because my back is against the wall. Many times God put our backs against the wall because these are the times when we need to try our faith. Remember, I wrote that faith was crap already. I cursed God already because where were you when all of this was happening? I needed comfort and there was none coming. And so I was mad. But here I was in a different space and really, really, really very desperate. And I felt ashamed to even call upon God because I cursed him real bad. And so when I raised my hands to the heavens and I cried, God, all I have is this lupus. You will have to take care of it for me. I do not have the money to see the specialist. I do not have anything at this point. You are going to have to teach me the natural remedies, the natural way to heal myself from this disease. And so through prayer, I started believing that God is going to take care of my problem for me. And many people say that is crap. Prayer alone can't heal your body when you have all of these crazy symptoms going on. Your body is attacking itself because that's what lupus is about. Your body attacking itself and destroying the natural good cells that are there because your body is also confused. It doesn't know when there's an enemy attacking the immune system. The immune system naturally protects your body when there is any foreign invasion, anything entering your body. The immune system fights it out. But then here we are with the immune system fighting my own body. And so it was a major challenge for me. And I started reading the Bible. I started having prayer, and in my bedroom that I occupied, there was this nice open window, and I just found this comfort going to my window each day and just talking to God, and I didn't even close my eyes. I didn't clasp my hands like others. I didn't go on my knees. I just stood there and I gazed into the heavens. I looked into the sky, the blue, beautiful sky. And when I looked beyond, it's like I could see where it's like God is there just waiting on me. He waits on us to have conversations with him. And the Bible tells us that all we need to do is seek and we shall find. Knock and it shall be open unto us. And one of the scriptures I found reassuring and comforting. I'm going on my phone right now. I found Matthew 8 verse 16 and 17. And it says, that evening they brought to him many who were possessed with demons, and he cast out the spirits with a word and cured all who were sick. This was to fulfill what was spoken by the prophet Isaiah, that he took all our infirmities and bore our diseases. If God is able to take our diseases, why not take it to him? Why not take it to him? And then we have to ask, what really is faith? What is faith? What is faith? Let me find out what Google has to say about what is faith. What is the definition of faith?
Here's the definition of faith: complete trust or confidence in someone or something.
It is strong belief in God or in the doctrines of a religion based on spiritual apprehension rather than proof. It's the complete trust or confidence in someone or something. I had to start believing in something. I had to start believing that there was a greater power than I am. And sometimes what we do is look at our own strength. And I believe that we need to tap into the source of our strength. So we cannot be doing the physical and the manual all the time without believing in a greater power, which is the source. Our source is God. And I learned to trust in God in those challenging times. My faith grew. My relationship with God grew because I sought him out. I looked in my Bible. I started reading. And I remember in particular, some days when I become so stressed and overwhelmed, I will say, God, I am very anxious at this time. And somehow in that moment, God says to me, Serena, be anxious for nothing, but through prayer and supplication, let your requests be known unto me. And so I learned not to get anxious, because that's one of the things, again, when you are spiritually grounded in God, then you find that you don't get all overwhelmed and fussy, because God said, take care of today. Today. Let's deal with today. Tomorrow will take care of itself. And so I learned to start slowing down and taking it one day at a time. So my spiritual life and relationship and connection to God was the first thing I did as a part of my lupus healing journey. I told God what I wanted. I told him I wanted healing, and not to get me to see a doctor. I asked God to help me that I am able to use natural foods and just regular supplements, vitamins, to heal myself from lupus. And that is where that seed of faith was sown, and everything else after that was revealed to me. I am encouraging you guys today that if you have not yet sought the source for your strength and do not rely on your own manual labor and fighting and struggling by yourself, you do not have to do this by yourself. Choose God. Trust that he will be there for you But we have to learn how to pray, and we have to let everything go. Do not pretend to be strong. Do not pretend as if you have everything going, because you don't. You don't. So you're depending on God to help you to carry you through this part of your life journey. And if you believe that God is able to deliver you when you call on Him, because He's the healer, He's the greatest healer ever. He has been healing from creation, and He still continues to heal. You just have to put yourself in the position to believe. When you are going through your trials and your tribulation, don't despair. Don't behave like there is no hope. Try Jesus. He gives us these challenges in our lives for us to start making decisions that include Him. He helps to navigate our day-to-day issues and satisfy our hearts and our minds and our souls. Give everything to Him. And that is where my spiritual upliftment started. When I was in Jamaica, I used to go to church, but then after a while, church became like a routine, something you do, and I go if I want, and if I don't feel like I don't go. And then there were so many times I just spent the whole time cussing out church people, talking about what they're doing wrong and all of that. I sought excuses for not worshiping God. I blamed everybody else but myself for not accepting and choosing God. I blamed the world for everything else that was going wrong. But I did not take responsibility that I needed to have a relationship with God to help me to overcome everything else that I'm seeing the world is struggling with. I chose to let everybody else be the barrier to me and God and our relationship. I am happy that today I have found Him again. I have found the road back to Him. And so can you. So if you're experiencing any form of disease or illness in your body, if you're experiencing stress and you're feeling hopeless, do as I do. My thing is that I go to my window and I gaze up into the heavens and I see God's glory. I see the beautiful skies. I see the clouds. I see all the wonders of heaven. I see the wonders that God has put there. Because sometimes we are so caught up looking down on all the beautiful things around us, but we do not look up enough to see that God is there waiting on our presence. He's just waiting on us to be there with Him, for Him. Because He likes us. He likes to be in communion with us. And sometimes when you go to pray, you may not even find the words. It's okay. Just sit and gaze and relax and listen to the silence. Hear the birds. And when you listen, you hear nothing. And in that moment is when God will give you the right words. And your feelings will start pouring from your body. And you find that you can't stop. That's how it is when you're in God's presence and He is with you. Believe that He's there. And I want you to go down in the comment section right now. And I want you to type, if you believe all that I'm saying, that it's possible for you to get healing from lupus or any other chronic disease or any other autoimmune disease. I want you to go down in the comment and put, God is real. God heals. Any one of those. God is real. God heals. Anything you want to put in support of this spiritual upliftment, this spiritual journey that I undertook, that led me to the place where today I can teach you, I can share with you about my lupus healing journey. My lupus healing journey. And I want you also to continue to subscribe. For those who have not yet subscribed, please, it's a good time now for you to subscribe to my channel, that you can get all the information about my spiritual journey and upliftment as I went into the integrative approach to healing my lupus. And I would say my lupus because sometimes you're not supposed to claim all of these things. But because God has already given me that healing, He's given me that message to take to you and to help you to understand what it is. I am saying my lupus story. I'm giving you my lupus story. I had my lupus story, right? And so I am encouraging you to subscribe so you can get the rest of this story. So this is the spiritual component of my lupus integrative approach. And I expect that you're going to be watching the others. So in another few days, another video will be out and we'll be looking at the different aspects. Remember, we have the physical activity component, we have the nutritional component. In the other videos, I would have given you about the components, but I also spoke about the different nutrients that our body needs. So we will pick up from there the next time and we'll look at what are some of the changes I made when it comes to food. What were some of the things I added? And later on, I'll be doing some blended juices for you and I'll be making some meals for you to see that it is not really so difficult and it's not particularly expensive to live and live well. Thank you very much for joining me. And if you want more information, you can go and visit my website, serenastrategy.com. I'll put it on the screen, serenastrategy.com. Visit my website. I have my ebook on there that talk about my comprehensive healing journey with lupus. I also have other supporting documents to talk about my 12 superfoods. I will be putting one up also that look at my whole spiritual journey, that aspect of it. It is also included in the overall ebook, but I am putting up a smaller ebook that talks about your spiritual journey in healing. And there are other resources. They are Unleashing the Power Within. That's a nice workbook that you can use to, build yourself up and to be that strong, empowered person you want to be. And then there is another one that will help you if you are looking to get into intimacy. It will also help to build the foundation on which your relationship is built. So I thank you very much for joining me today on Serena from Serena Strategy, and continue to watch as more video unfold for you. See you. Bye.